Ancient Athens, a prominent Greek city-state, is celebrated as the origin of democratic government. Its political system laid down fundamental principles for governance. These foundational concepts have profoundly influenced political systems globally. Athens' legacy continues to shape modern democratic thought and practice. Ancient Greece was a cradle of political innovation, with various city-states exploring different governance models. Among these, Athens is renowned for developing a sophisticated and functional democratic process. Athenian democracy allowed citizens direct participation in legislative and judicial functions. However, Athens was not the sole Greek city-state to experiment with democratic elements. Other polis also incorporated aspects of popular rule, though often in less comprehensive forms. Athens' democratic model proved to be the most enduring and extensively documented, influencing later political thought. The origins of Athenian democracy trace back to the early 6th century BCE. During this period, the statesman Solon initiated crucial governmental reforms in Athens. These reforms were specifically designed to increase citizen participation in governance. Solon's actions laid the foundational groundwork for the development of democratic principles. His efforts represent the initial seeds of what would become Athenian democracy. Around 508 BCE, ancient Athens was undergoing significant political transformation. Cleisthenes emerged as a pivotal figure during this period, initiating crucial reforms. His contributions profoundly shaped the structure of Athenian democracy. These reforms laid the groundwork for a more inclusive and representative government. Cleisthenes is thus credited with fostering the flourishing of Athenian democratic principles. In the mid-5th century BCE, ancient Athens was a burgeoning democracy. Ekklesia, an Athenian politician, initiated further reforms to the government. These reforms aimed to enhance the democratic nature of the Athenian state. His actions refined the operational structure of the Athenian government. The reforms typically involved curtailing the power of the Areopagus Council. This shift transferred more authority to the citizen assembly and popular courts. Ancient Athens pioneered a unique form of governance known as direct democracy. In this system, eligible citizens directly participated in decision-making processes. They cast personal votes on critical matters concerning law and justice. This direct engagement contrasted with modern representative democracies. Athenian democracy empowered citizens to shape their society through direct suffrage. Ancient Athenian democracy was a pioneering system of governance. Its democratic processes were not confined solely to the city of Athens itself. The system extended its reach across the broader Attic Peninsula. This expansion allowed for the inclusion of a wider regional citizenry. Thus, a diverse population participated in the democratic decision-making of Athens. During the 5th century BCE, the Athenian population was a complex social structure. Estimates place the total population at approximately 250,000 or more individuals. This figure included various groups, such as Athenian citizens and their families. It also encompassed a significant number of slaves and non-Athenian residents. In ancient Athens, citizenship was a fundamental prerequisite for political participation. This requirement established a clear boundary for who could engage in the democratic process. Only citizens were granted the right to vote, hold office, and participate in assemblies. Thus, citizenship defined the scope of political involvement within Athenian democracy. In ancient Athens, citizenship was a highly exclusive status, granting significant rights and responsibilities. Eligibility for citizenship was restricted to men who had reached 18 years of age. A key requirement was proving one was not a slave, ensuring personal freedom. Both parents also had to be born in Athens, establishing a strict lineage-based criterion. Ancient Athens, renowned for its democratic ideals, had significant limitations on political participation. Women were explicitly excluded from the democratic process, a fundamental aspect of Athenian society. This exclusion meant women could not vote, hold office, or engage in public debate. Their political agency was severely restricted, confining their roles primarily to the domestic sphere. Thus, the scope of Athenian democracy did not extend to half of its adult population. Ancient Athens is often celebrated as the birthplace of democracy, yet its participatory scope was limited. A significant portion of the population was excluded from political processes, including women, slaves, and foreigners. Only adult male citizens, born of Athenian parents, were granted the right to participate in governance. This restricted group comprised approximately 30,000 to 50,000 eligible residents. This number represented less than 30% of the city-state's total population. Thus, Athenian democracy, while foundational, featured a highly exclusive model of political engagement. Ancient Athens, founded around 900 BCE, had a long history of governance before democracy. For at least 300 years, various forms of government preceded the democratic era. These early systems laid the groundwork for the later development of Athenian society. The transition from these pre-democratic structures was a gradual process. Understanding these earlier governments is crucial for comprehending Athenian democracy's evolution. Ancient Athens initially operated under a monarchical system of government. During this period, a single king held the supreme ruling authority within the polis. The monarch's decisions were typically guided by the counsel of a group of nobles. This monarchical rule persisted for an approximate duration of 100 years. Ancient Athens experienced significant prosperity due to flourishing trade and commerce. This economic growth led to the emergence of a new class of wealthy individuals. These newly affluent citizens sought increased political influence and representation. Consequently, the established monarchical system began to decline as power shifted. In ancient Athens, property owners accumulated wealth through trade and commerce. These influential individuals began to gather and convene on the Areopagus, a prominent hill. The assembly derived its name directly from this significant geographical location. This marked the emergence of the Areopagus as a powerful political and judicial body. In ancient Athens, the Areopagus was a prominent council that held significant political power. Initially a council of elders, it evolved to assert control over the city-state's governance. This body was responsible for electing the city's chief magistrates. These 9 rulers were known as archons, holding executive and judicial authority. The system of governance established by the Areopagus was an oligarchy. An oligarchy is a form of government where power rests with a small, privileged group. In ancient Athens, archons held significant but not absolute authority within the oligarchy. Their power was deliberately constrained to prevent unchecked rule and maintain governmental balance. Decisions made by the archons were not final. They required further validation. The Areopagus, a council of elders, served as a crucial oversight body. All archon decisions were subject to the approval and review of the Areopagus. This system established essential checks and balances, distributing power among different bodies. By the mid-7th century BCE, ancient Athens had developed a distinct social hierarchy. This structure was characterized by a powerful and affluent aristocratic ruling class. This elite group held significant political and economic control within the city-state. Their wealth was often derived from land ownership and agricultural production. The social system was well defined, with clear divisions between different societal strata. This aristocratic dominance shaped the early political and social landscape of Athens. In ancient Athens, significant social unrest arose due to disparities between classes. The affluent aristocratic class, including members of the Areopagus, held considerable power and wealth. Lower classes harbored resentment, perceiving the aristocrats' wealth as gained at their expense. This growing discontent led to the aristocratic class falling into public disfavor. Ancient Greek society faced periods of significant internal turmoil and instability. This societal breakdown often led to widespread civil unrest among the populace. Such conditions created an environment ripe for the emergence of strong, assertive individuals. These figures often rose to prominence by challenging the established power structures. Their assertiveness allowed them to gain influence amidst the prevailing disorder. This dynamic was a recurring feature in the political landscape of ancient Athens. Cleisthenes was a pivotal figure in ancient Athens during the late 6th century BCE. His reforms significantly shaped the political landscape of the city-state. He is credited with elevating Athenian democracy to a prominent position. Cleisthenes introduced a system of political reforms around 508 BCE. These reforms aimed to reduce the power of the aristocracy and increase citizen participation. Due to his foundational contributions, Cleisthenes is recognized as the father of Athenian democracy. Cleisthenes' period of rule and reform in ancient Athens was relatively brief. His reforms were implemented between 508 and 502 BCE, lasting only 6 years. Despite its short duration, Cleisthenes' measures had a profound impact. These reforms significantly reshaped Athenian society and governance. The effects of his changes were far-reaching and enduring. His legacy influenced Athens for approximately 2 centuries following their implementation. Cleisthenes, an Athenian statesman, introduced significant reforms in ancient Athens. His primary objective was to reduce the power and influence of the aristocratic class. The reforms aimed to dismantle traditional social hierarchies and distinctions. He reorganized citizens into new tribal structures, diluting aristocratic control. This restructuring blurred the lines between different social strata within the city-state. Cleisthenes' actions laid foundational groundwork for Athenian democracy. Ancient Athens underwent significant reforms that reshaped its society. These reforms fostered a new consciousness among the Athenian populace. The changes fundamentally altered their perception of themselves as individuals. It also redefined their relationship and connection to the city-state. This transformation created a stronger sense of civic identity and belonging. The reforms solidified the bond between citizens and their polis. Cleisthenes, an Athenian statesman, introduced significant political reforms in ancient Athens. He established the deme, or village, as the foundational political unit of society. This reform aimed to reorganize the Athenian citizenry and integrate diverse populations. The deme served as the basis for local governance and participation in the broader Athenian democracy. In ancient Athens, a shift occurred in how citizens identified themselves. Previously, identity was primarily tied to family lineage and ancestral connections. Citizens began to adopt names associated with their home villages or demes. This fostered a new civic identity, strengthening community bonds beyond kinship. Ancient Athens implemented strategies to prevent the rise of tyrannical rule. A key strategy involved emphasizing geographic location over traditional lineage. This approach decentralized power, reducing the influence of powerful families. It fostered broader civic loyalty, diminishing the potential for a single ruler to emerge. In ancient Athens, each deme, a local administrative district, was governed by an official known as a demarch. The demarch's role was central to local administration, akin to that of a modern-day town mayor. Their duties encompassed a wide range of civic responsibilities within their respective deme. A significant responsibility included the classification and registration of individuals within the deme. This classification was crucial for civic participation and the organization of Athenian society. In ancient Athens, demarchs played a crucial role in civic organization. Their responsibilities included the systematic grouping of individuals within the demes. One key group comprised verified male citizens, aged 18 and over, essential for state functions. Another group consisted of citizens specifically selected for council membership. The final category included those eligible to participate in the Athenian assembly. Ancient Athens sought to establish a more inclusive form of governance for its citizens. Cleisthenes initiated significant reforms to the existing social and political framework. His primary objective was to ensure every Athenian citizen could actively participate in government. This involved a comprehensive reorganization of the traditional tribal system. The old tribal divisions, often based on family and regional loyalties, were replaced. These reforms aimed to foster civic unity and reduce the influence of aristocratic factions. Ancient Athens implemented a new tribal framework to reorganize its political structure. This framework divided the Athenian territory into 3 distinct geographical thirds. These thirds were categorized as the city, the coastal region, and the interior. Each of these 3 thirds was then assigned to one of 10 newly established tribes. This system aimed to integrate diverse populations and reduce regional factionalism within Athens. Ancient Athens organized its citizenry into tribes, a fundamental aspect of its political structure. Each new tribe was meticulously composed to include 3 distinct thirds or territorial divisions. These divisions ensured comprehensive representation from diverse geographical areas of the city-state. Specifically, each tribe incorporated citizens from the city, the coastal region, and the interior. Ancient Athens established a council of 500 as a key governing body. Each Athenian tribe annually contributed 50 citizens to serve on this council. This structure ensured broad representation across the Athenian tribes. The Council of 500 marked an expansion from the earlier Council of 400. This increase in membership occurred during the reforms following Solon's era. Ancient Athens implemented a new structure to foster broad citizen engagement. This system aimed to involve citizens from all regions and social strata of Athens. It ensured comprehensive participation in civic life, extending to the local level. The structure facilitated direct involvement in governance and community affairs. This approach thoroughly engaged the citizenry, strengthening democratic principles. Cleisthenes implemented reforms in ancient Athens to strengthen democracy. A key objective was to prevent regional or provincial politics from dominating. He foresightfully designed systems to eliminate such undermining influences. These reforms ensured a more unified and stable political process over time. In ancient Athens, citizenship was intrinsically linked to registration within a specific deme. A deme was a local administrative division, similar to a modern municipality or district. Once a citizen was officially registered in a particular deme, this affiliation became permanent. This permanent registration was crucial for their participation in governmental affairs. Even if a citizen relocated to a different geographical area, their deme affiliation remained unchanged. This system ensured continuity in political identity and civic duties regardless of residence. Cleisthenes initiated significant social and political reforms in ancient Athens. These reforms aimed to establish a new governmental structure and societal order. To legitimize this new apparatus, Cleisthenes created 10 new tribes. Each of these tribes was named after revered heroes from Athenian antiquity. This naming strategy connected the new system to Athens' historical legacy, ensuring public acceptance. In ancient Athens, significant reforms often sought divine validation to bolster their legitimacy. Heroes, or leaders associated with these reforms, were frequently believed to be divinely chosen. Apollo, the revered sun god, was a prominent deity in such divine endorsements. The Oracle of Delphi served as the primary conduit for Apollo's pronouncements and guidance. Through the oracle, specific individuals were purportedly selected by Apollo for their roles. This divine sanction provided a powerful historical and religious context, legitimizing the reforms. Ancient Athens revered a group known as the 10 Heroes. These figures were foundational to Athenian identity and civic organization. The heroes included Pandion, Oeneus, Leos, Cecrops, and Hippothune. Also among them were Erectes, Antiochus, Achamas, Aegeus, and Ajax. Ancient Athens honored its heroes through various forms of public commemoration. A significant method of immortalization involved the placement of statues. These statues were strategically located in the agora, the central public space of Athens. The agora served as a hub for civic life, including the display of new laws and proclamations. This placement ensured heroes remained prominent in the collective memory and public consciousness. Ancient Athenian democracy was a direct form of governance, involving active citizen participation. In its practical application, this system was often characterized by its dynamic and sometimes tumultuous nature. Public discourse could be raucous, with citizens frequently engaging in spirited debates and arguments. The legal system was similarly litigious, with many disputes resolved through public trials and legal proceedings. This resulted in a contentious political environment, shaping the daily life and governance of Athens. Ancient Athens faced significant challenges in its governmental structure. Despite these obstacles, a fundamental revolution in governance occurred. This revolution profoundly changed the role of government in citizens' lives. It empowered individuals to influence political events directly. Citizens gained unprecedented participation in state affairs. The Athenian model established a new paradigm for civic engagement and governmental interaction. Ancient Athens is renowned as the birthplace of democracy, a system of government by the people. This political innovation marked a profound turning point in Western history and political thought. The Athenian democratic process allowed citizens to participate directly in governance and decision-making. However, full participation was not universal. Many residents, including women and slaves, were excluded. Despite limitations, the emergence of Athenian democracy laid foundational principles for future democratic systems. Around 507 BCE, Cleisthenes initiated significant reforms in ancient Athens. These reforms restructured the Athenian political and social landscape. Crucially, Cleisthenes' system integrated institutions established by Solon. Solon's foundational work predated Cleisthenes' reforms by nearly a century. Ancient Athens was the birthplace of a revolutionary system of governance. Cleisthenes, an Athenian statesman, introduced this new form of government. He named his system Demokratia, a term derived from Greek roots. The word Demokratia translates to rule by the people or power of the people. This name reflected the core principle of the government: direct citizen participation in decision-making. Ancient Athens established a governmental structure founded on three core pillars. These pillars were designed to uphold principles of equity and fairness within society. A primary function was to ensure the impartial dispensation of justice for all citizens. They were also responsible for the creation and interpretation of laws governing the polis. The Ekklesia served as the central governing authority in ancient Athens. It was a primary example of direct democracy, allowing citizens to participate directly in governance. All eligible male citizens had the right to attend and vote on legislative matters. Decisions made by the Ekklesia were binding and influenced all aspects of Athenian public life. This assembly was fundamental to the political structure and civic engagement in Athens. The Ekklesia was the principal assembly of the democracy of ancient Athens. Initially, this assembly convened 10 times per year to conduct state affairs. Over time, the frequency of Ekklesia meetings significantly increased. Meetings expanded to 40 times annually, supplemented by additional special sessions. The Ekklesia was the principal assembly of the democracy of ancient Athens. It held significant legislative power, including the authority to write new laws. The assembly was also responsible for revising existing laws to meet current needs. Crucially, it deliberated on foreign policy, including decisions regarding war and peace. Furthermore, the Ekklesia held public officials accountable for their actions and decisions.